Hi, my name is Gabrielle Pipitone, and I'm doing my project on the effects of oral bacteria on the mouth. So, the mouth is an ideal location for development and harboring of bacteria. This dark, warm, wet environment provides the perfect condition to allow bacteria to colonize and accumulate around the teeth and in the gum pockets. A setting like this serves as a bacteria breeding wonderland. However, the effects of this pathogen party can have on humans are not so glorious. Bacteria strains commonly found in the mouth include Streptococcus, which causes strep throat, and Actinomyces, that decomposes plant matter in nature, but in the mouth it causes diseases in humans. Also, there's a bacteria called Lactobacillus, which metabolizes sugars into the mouth that cause cavities. If these microbiomes of the mouth are left free to breed and accumulate, then irritation and inflammation can cause infection in the mouth. And for those who brush and floss regularly, the amount of bacteria in the mouth circulating throughout the body is kept in moderation. But for those who don't remove bacteria from their mouth and allow it to amass in these perfect breeding conditions, they can have serious complications. So, for people who I'm going to show you guys on a model, for people who actually get into the mouth really, really good with their brushes, they can get all of this bacteria out, and if they floss, even better, because you're getting the bacteria that's in between your teeth that you can't reach with a toothbrush out of your mouth, and this can keep your heart, your whole body, and your mouth healthy. So think about it. What happens when you get a cut in your mouth? What happens when you floss for the first time in a long time? You bleed. So this means that the mouth is vascular and blood circulates through it. And along with the rest of the body, it goes through your veins and blood vessels. Every part of the body is interconnected by this highway of red fluid, which is kept in motion by one of the most important parts of your body, which is your heart. So when the mouth is not being debrided of this accumulating food and drinks and sugars, plaque and biofilm begin to form. It's a sticky, bacteria-infested substance which has even more bacteria in it, and it colonizes on the tooth surface and into your gums. This buildup of bacteria in your gums causes gingivitis, and it inflames your gums, which is gingivitis. The warm, moist pocket environment fosters the growth of gram-negative anaerobic bacteria that proliferate the subgingival space, and some of these bacteria attach to other biofilms on the tooth root. And when there is active infection present in attempting to fight against the body fights back. So your blood starts to produce these proteins, which are called pro-inflammatory biomarkers. Pro-inflammatory means anything that promotes inflammation, and a biomarker is any measurable indicator. So a pro-inflammatory biomarker is basically something that quantifies the amount of inflammation that's present in your body. So your body's immune system and organs like the liver secrete enzymes and proteins into the blood, including these pro-inflammatory biomarkers, to help fight against that infection that's in your mouth. These biomarkers include C-reactive proteins and interleukins and something called fibrinogens. CRP, which is the C-reactive protein, detects the levels of inflammation in the blood. Interleukins are proteins that the immune system depends on to function, and increased levels of these two things in your blood samples signify active infection in the body that they're being produced to fight against. Fibrinogen is a protein that's produced by your liver, which helps to stop bleeding by forming blood clots. And as I stated before, when there's an infection in the gums or the mouth, bleeding occurs. So this makes fibrinogen necessary to prevent continuous bleeding. So this infection-fighting blood infused with these proteins is circulating throughout your body, as well as fighting the infection in the mouth in an attempt to destroy the source of the contagion. And in order for your blood to keep its motion, it has to pass through the heart at some point, which can be dangerous because there's a thing called cardiovascular disease that occurs when there's a buildup of plaque on the vessel wall. This is caused by an interaction between the vessel and blood components where inflammation plays a major role. These blood components present in blocking up those vessels are like what I said before, those proteins that your body is producing in order to fight this infection. So they have two functions in the body. One is a good thing to fight the infection, but another thing is that they can build up and they can block your arteries, which can cause cardiovascular disease, heart failure, depending on where these buildups occur. So the surplus of proteins traveling through the blood can be extremely dangerous. Depending on where the buildups occur, thrombosis, which is a formation of a blood clot in a blood vessel, or myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, can occur. According to Edmonds, another possible mechanism is elevated serofibrinogen in white blood cells, which can induce thrombogenic events, which is basically what I just said about thrombogenic events being formation of blood clots inside the blood vessels. So in order to understand the relationship between an infection in the mouth and cardiovascular disease, a study was taken of 128 random adult inhabitants of West Virginia, and the rationale of this study was to examine the links concerning dental hygiene practices and cardiovascular disease risk factors and inflammation in adults. Each of the participants went through measurements like height, weight, and all of that other good stuff, and had a blood sample taken and filled out a questionnaire about their dental health. So the results of this study showed that those who were said to brush less frequently had higher cholesterols and increased numbers of interleukins, which is one of those proteins that I said was secreted by the body to fight infection, which can get caught in your arteries and cause problems with your heart. And also, these people who didn't brush as often had blood samples with higher levels of these proteins, as well as higher BMIs. In addition, people who didn't floss, as well as not brushing their teeth, also had high blood pressures. On the other hand, those who were said to brush their teeth more frequently had normal levels of those pro-inflammatory biomarkers in their blood and produced more adiposity, which adiposity is something that regulates the breakdown of fats and glucose, which actually keeps you healthy. These results reflect the hypothesis of the experiment that better dental hygiene prevents unfavorable levels of those inflammation biomarkers in your blood. But that's all that I have today for my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something and are going to brush and floss from now on. Keep yourselves healthy, keep your mouths free of cavities. I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you.